What is going on? Beyond the break here with a 25 card PSA submission review. We'll go over our newest submission to PSA. Currently running a modern sports special, so we have a variety of raw cards here. A mixture of some higher end and a mixture of some lower end raw cards. But overall, a mixture of, mixed sports, I would say. A little bit of basketball, a little bit of, I think, one or two baseball cards, some football cards here. But overall, really hot, well-known players, Hall of Famers, retirees, current superstars right now. So just a nice variety here. We'll go over the cards and kind of our prediction of what we're feeling in terms of what we anticipate from a grading standpoint. So with that being said, let's start it off. So here we have a Steph Curry Pink Ice. This is out of the 2018 set. Obviously with these set, it's tough, from a corner standpoint. This one corner is always causing a little bit of issues. Here we have it as a 10 though. We have no issues at all. Centering looks great on the front. On the back, that one corner, no, the tiniest bit of whitening, but other than that, no other issues. So we have this card down as a 10. Next is a Victor Wembanyama out of Phoenix. This is the silver. Got this out of a pack pull, actually, so pretty pumped about that. This card we have is a 10, though. We saw no issues at all. Centering looked great. No surface scratches at all. But yeah, probably one of our bigger, cards we've pulled out of. This came out of a blaster, so pretty pumped about that. Next is a Julio Rodriguez Gold Cup. This is the Blue Wave out of 75. This we have down between a 9 and a 10. Outside of a little bit of centering issues, you can see on the back, centering looks great, but on the front, it's a little bit thicker on the left and the right. So with that, we're leaning a little bit more on the 9 side. But, again, we've seen sometimes, PSA will overlook that and give this a 10. But outside the centering surface, again, like I mentioned, looks great. No issues with the corners. Next is a Tyreek Hill White out of Select. This we have as a 10. Saw no issues. On the back, again, you can see kind of the centering looks great. Corners, no issues at all. This is out of 35, the field level from Select. But yeah, no issues at all. So we have this as a clear 10. Next is a Derrick Henry Purple Ice. This is a second-year Derrick Henry out of 75. Centering looks great. Corners, you can see with the darker corners, a little bit of a challenge, but didn't see any whitening to cause this anything lower than a 10. Surface looked great. Corners, great. So yeah, we have this as a 10. Next is a Chris Paul Blue Fluorescent. This card just caught my eye, and I just felt like it was a much needed card with the the orange and the light blue. This is numbered to 15. We had this card down as a 10. Saw no issues at all. Centering, sometimes the mosaic for this year, the center can be a little bit off, but I don't think enough to warrant not a 10. Surface looked great as well. No issues with the corners or edges. So yeah, had this as a 10. Here's a Luka Doncic Pink Pulsar. This is out of Obsidian from 2023. Centering looked great. You can see on the back here, no issues at all. We had this card down as a 10. It was clean, especially with these sticker cards. With the Obsidian, it is a bit of a challenge. You can kind of see a lot more finger indents or dimples, but this we did not see, so we have this as a 10. Here is probably the biggest card of the order. This is the Derek Jeter Refractor 1997. Obviously, with the centering, as bad as it is, this is typical for this card. We have this closer to an 8. We were hoping for an 8. We bought this card with the intention of receiving an 8. Did our research. We've seen some 9s with centering like this. We've seen some 8s with centering like this. I don't think there actually has ever been a 10, and obviously this is not going to be one of them. But overall, we have this as an 8. Saw no scratches, which is a big bonus when we bought this card. Again, probably our most expensive raw card. That's always the concern, is from a scratch standpoint. No scratches, which is great to see. And then even on the back, you can kind of see the centering looks beautiful in the back. I saw a lot. I did a little bit of research into 9s and 10s of this card, and I saw a lot of 9s, a lot of 8s with centering on the back completely, larger discrepancies from a left to right or top to bottom standpoint. On the front, you can clearly see the centering much thicker on the left and much thicker on the bottom. But I did see a lot of 9s and a lot of 8s with similar, viewpoints from this. So leaning more towards an 8. I think there was a little bit of some edge issues going on here, but overall, I will take an 8. I'm hoping for an 8. I do think there might be an outside chance of a 9, but again, I'm leaning towards an 8 here. Next is a Shai Gilgeous-Alexander blue out of Obsidian. These are numbered to 30. We have this as a 10. They're, with a small chance of a 9, and I say that because when you compare this to the Luka, the pink Pulsar, left to right looks great. No surface scratches at all. No dimples or dents, that we sometimes will see with Obsidian. The only thing that we saw when you compared the Luka is, a little bit thicker on the top than the bottom. It's more noticeable on the back here. So that makes me think, again, if the Luka doesn't get a 10, I don't know if this would, but I think we have this as a 10 with a small chance of a 9. Here's one of those other Derrick Henrys. This is the light blue, nice color match out of 199. Here we have a 9. We think this is, more than likely a 9. I don't see this ever getting a 10. Centering, you can tell, is a little bit off. On top of, again, with these darker corners, you can see a little bit more whitening. I think this corner down here, a little bit more whitening than the other, the purple. So have this as a 9. I'm gonna say 9. I don't see there being a chance of a 10. Here we have a Stefon Diggs Snapshots tie-dye. This is numbered to 25. We have this as a 9, small chance of a 10. And I say that due to the fact that there is a 1 or 2 dimples in the back that we found. Super small, so sometimes PSA might overlook that. Centering looked great, but outside of the centering and the no surface scratches, those dimples I think bring this down to a 9. Next is a Brandon Ingram Blue Choice Auto. This is numbered to 35. We have this as a 10. No issues at all. You can see from a centering standpoint, down below here, centering looks perfect. No surface damage at all. No scratches. No corner issues. Centering looks great. So we have this as a 10. Pretty decent auto too. I think I was watching some videos earlier. Autos have been a hot topic as of late, with athletes kind of being on the lazier end from an autograph standpoint. But I actually think Brandon Ingram's autograph is a little bit nicer. So yeah, just wanted to mention that. Next is a Tyrese Maxey Montage Purple. This is numbered to 99. This card weighs a 10. Wouldn't submit this unless we were pretty confident this would be a 10. Surface looked great. No issues at all. With these 2 darker corners, you can see no whitening at all either. So we have this as a 10. Next is a Chris Middleton Pink Pulsar out of 42. This we have between a 9 and 10, leaning on the 10 side. Surface look great, no issues at all. Corners great. I think, you know, from a centering standpoint, a little bit thicker on the right. And then you can see a little bit more clearly on the back. Again, thicker on the right here. So I think that might sway it to a 9 compared to these other cards from a centering standpoint. I do think though that, you know, despite the back centering, I don't think it's enough to warrant a 10, but I wouldn't be surprised if this gets a 9. Here's a Cade Cunningham red disco. This is number 2/100. We have this as a 9. This, from a centering standpoint, a little bit thicker on the right than the left. We have this as a 9, outside chance of a 10. I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a 9, but I also wouldn't be surprised if it gets a 10. Again, surface look great, corners, no issues, edges look great. It's just more of the centering. You can see here a little bit thicker on the left and the right from, you know, the score sheet here. But, you know, I wouldn't be surprised if it gets a 9 or a 10. Here's a LeBron James pink ice. Been buying a lot of these pink ices, or honestly any sort of ices for LeBron James. This we have a 10. Centering look great. You can see top to bottom, left to right, no issues at all. Back, similar story here. Corners, you know, with these prisms from 2023. A little bit easier to detect any whitening here, but you can see no issues at all. And no surface scratches. So overall, everything looked great. Checks out. I think we got a 10 here. Here's a Topps Chrome Derek Jeter from the 2007 set. This we have as a 9. Centering, you know, especially with this 2007 set, centering has always been an issue, whether it's top to bottom or left to right. But for this card, centering looked great. And actually surface, no issues. No scratching, from what I could tell. The issue with these 2007 cards, though, is the green backs. So you can see a lot of whitening if there is whitening. But here, I think there's very minimal. You can see kind of like this top left a little bit here, kind of down the line, a little bit of whitening. Not enough to warrant anything below a 9, though. So I do have this as a 9. Here we have a Bobby Witt Jr. purple sonar out of 275. This we were between a 9 and 10. I'm leaning a little bit more towards a 10. Back, you can see here, centering looks great. On the front, though, you can see a little bit thicker on the left and the right, and a little bit, you know, maybe even a little bit thicker on the top and the bottom. But again, not enough to warrant, I don't think, not enough to warrant a 9. I think this gets a 10. But, you know, depending on the grader and the centering, you know, wouldn't be surprised if it gets a 9. Here we have another older card. This is a Roderick Clemens Club K Refractor. This we have as 10. No issues. Centering, you know, not much of a concern here. Surface, no issues. Look at that shine. Back, especially with a little bit of a darker back and a lot of these coloring in the back, no issues at all. You can see both corners, no whitening at all. So we have this as a 10. Here we have a Hassan Reddick color match rookie. This is the Red Power. This is number 249. This we have as a 9. Centering looked great, actually. You can see on the front, no issues. The back, you can see down here below, center looks great too, but just with these darker corners, we've noticed a little bit of whitening in both corners. So we were playing on the safe side here and predicting a 9. Here's a Kyrie Irving blue Excalibur. This is out of 199. We are between a 9 and 10, leaning a little bit more on the 9 side. Just with these darker backs, it's more of a challenge. Again, with these darker backs, you can always see a little bit more whitening, you know, a little bit up here, a little bit of whitening up there. I think this one corner has got a little bit of whitening too. Other than that, though, you can see here centering looks great. Surface, no issues. But, you know, the back, I think there's just too much weighting to not get at least a 9. Here's a purple Albert Pujols out of $2.99. Yep, out of $2.99. This is from the 2019 set. This we have as a 10. No issues. Surface looks great. Centering, no issues at all. Corners, all that looks great. So yeah, we have this as a 10. Next, we have a Travis Kelce blue wave, light blue wave, I believe. This is a little bit higher of a number. This is 1 out of 149 for football. Other than the Julio, I think the Julio was out of 75, so 149. This we have as a 10. Centering, great. You can see here, no issues at all. Surface look great. I think if you really want to nitpick, maybe on the front, centering's a little bit thicker on the right. But again, not enough to warrant, I don't think, a 10. So yeah, leaning on 10 here. Next is a Paul Pierce purple out of Select. This is out of 99. Here, I want to say between 9 and 10. You can see from a centering standpoint, no issues. Surface look great. Corners great. I think we saw maybe 1 or 2 small dimples. Again, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get these on camera. That's not part of the card. I think there was 1 or 2 smaller dimples that, you know, made me a little bit hesitant to say a 10. So I'm going to lean towards a 9 for this. Hopeful for a 10. And then last card here, the Luka Doncic Blue Ice out of Flux. I know how some people feel about Flux. It's a little bit hit or miss, but I actually like Flux. I think it's a very quality type card. It's a little bit different from a viewpoint, but this card we had as a 10. Centering was great. No issues at all. You can see on the back here, left and right, no issues, top to bottom. So we had this down as a 10. All right, so there's the review. Just went through every single card, kind of give you a glimpse of what we're feeling from a grading standpoint and kind of what we look at. If you liked the video, please like and subscribe. And as always, trying to grow this channel, and please leave some comments. Love interacting with you all in the comments section. If you have any other ideas, please let us know. We're always trying to look for new content for this channel. Until next time, peace.